Good afternoon, everybody present. And first, I would like to welcome you on behalf of the cell of the Ministry of Ayush in Zagreb and Embassy of India in Zagreb also. And today's topic of our webinar is yoga therapy, a holistic approach to health. So we will go into the details of the principles of yoga therapy, especially in relation to the Sankhya, science of the Sankhya. So I will open the PowerPoint presentation. So everybody can see. Okay. So yoga therapy, holistic approach to health. So we can say that today, usually when we are thinking about the therapy in the West specifically, then we are immediately connecting with the problems which person has. So regarding which we will apply the therapy. And we are looking for some symptoms, the illness, which kind of illness person has. So basically on the West, the therapy approach is related to the illness which person has. But originally, in the yogic concept, the therapy is always related to the person. So we are in the yoga therapy, we are not treating the illness, but we are treating the person who has that illness. So we are not dealing with the illness itself. That's why in yoga therapy, there is no such approach that we can specify certain illnesses and then make some manual related to the yogic practices which will be handling those illnesses. So yoga therapy, that's why it requires a lot of knowledge in the field of yoga. And also, so it is somehow, we can say, the science. The knowledge must be very precise, and we need to know each yogic practice, which kind of effect it has on our life, and in which way it is practiced. This must be very clear, and the proper practice of yoga. So this is most important aspect. And also it is art, because this you need to apply to the person, not to the illness which person has, but to the person. That's why the person is that entity which is related to that illness. And the cause is in the person, in the state of the person. And the illness is effect. So we are dealing with the cause in the yoga therapy. We are not dealing with specific effects. That's why the yoga therapy can be, we can say, complementary approach to improve the health of the person with the modern medicine. So we follow advice of the modern medicine, and everything what is discovered in the field of modern medicine, which deals more with the symptoms. And at the same time, we apply knowledge of the yoga therapy to deal with the cause. So that's why the yoga therapy is holistic approach, because it takes the person as a whole, all aspects of the person, and to understand what is the need for yoga therapy. We can say it is the lack of the health, the lack of the wholeness. It is illness. So we can say that to know the illness, first we need to know what is the health, what is the nature of the wholeness. And then we can understand what is the illness. If we don't have a clear understanding of what is the true nature of our life and the healthy condition of our life, and if we are dealing just with the symptoms and the symptomatic approach and with the specific illnesses, then we don't know in which direction we should go. So in the yoga, the name for the health, also in Ayurveda, is swastha. Swastha means being established in the wholeness. Swa means the wholeness, and it is related to that state of our life, which is the source of our life. That holistic value of the transcendental value of our life. The state in yogic language, it's called Purusha, and in Sankhya, or Atman in the Vedantic language, or the soul, that source, that what we, in reality, what we are, we need to be established in our true self. So when we are established in our true self, which is the wholeness, then we are healthy. So this is the definition of the health from the perspective of the yoga. And then illness means other than that, vyadhi. Other than wholeness. Everything what is less than wholeness, it's not a normal condition anymore. So we can say the illness is kind of lack of normal condition, like the if we say the light and the relation of the light and the darkness, then the darkness is lack of light. Lack of light. How much there is lack of light, so in so degrees there will be the darkness overcoming. So there will be not pure light anymore. If there is some lack, there will be little less pure light and more gray, and then coming to more dark. So then we can say these are the different values of different kind of illnesses. Some very light illness, or more heavy illness, chronic disorders, diseases, and everything. So that's why yoga is referring to bring the wholeness to the life, not dealing with the illness itself in that sense, but dealing with what the life should be, dealing with the nature of life. With that, yoga is dealing. In the yoga therapy, we don't deal with the illness, we deal with what the nature of life is. And then this is removing the illness. So when you start increasing the light, then that darkness is going away. So for that purpose, we need to see what is the condition of a person. And in that sense, yoga is using a specific process of diagnosing, where the yoga therapeutic is giving advice. It is giving advice to the person what to do, that the person can connect with itself and become aware of its own state and what is the condition of a person. So this is the role of the yoga therapist. So there is a difference. If we see the different approach of the therapy from Ayurveda and yoga, there is a difference. In Ayurveda, you come to the Ayurvedic clinic, to the Ayurvedic doctor, and you don't need to have any knowledge about neither about yourself, neither about the methods which will be applied on you. So for that purpose, Vaidya knows how to make diagnose on the pulse diagnose and detect what kind of disorder is there, and according to that prescribe the therapy. And this is the Ayurvedic therapy. And then there are people which are trained how to conduct those different therapeutic practices, whether it is Shirodhara, Abhyanga, Basti, Nasya, Svedana, or others. So then you just go there, and then you are undergoing the therapeutic process which other people work on you, so that they improve your condition. And this is, we can say, very popular and very general for most of the people which don't have any kind of knowledge how to help themselves. They just need to have a desire to help themselves using this strategy of the natural medicine, natural approach, and very effective, and they can help themselves. But the yoga therapy is the different approach of the therapy. In yoga therapy, we can say this is the self-therapy. Self-therapy. And the yoga therapist is not doing anything on you. He is not treating you. There is no contact, physical contact between you and yoga therapist. He is just giving advice. Yoga therapist is giving knowledge to you, how you can connect with yourself, so that yoga therapist is turning yourself back to yourself, turning you back to yourself. So, and this is different approach. And in that sense, you do self-diagnose in the yoga therapy, you diagnose yourself and you treat yourself. And the person who is yoga therapist is just giving you knowledge. So to practice yoga therapy, you need to know how to work with yourself. How to work with yourself. All the practices in yoga therapy is that you are doing this on your own self, on yourself. So for example, in Ayurveda, you have panchakarma procedures where others are working on you, the 5 methods of the purification actions. And in yoga, you have shatkarma, the 6 actions of the purification, where you are doing this to yourself. So that's why you need to learn how to do those processes if you are, if you find that they are useful to improve your health. Like Nasya, we have in Ayurveda, here we have Neti for cleaning the breathing pathways, the upper breathing pathways, the nostrils and the sinus cavities and everything. And other, it is the same with other processes, also with Basti and with other aspects. So the yoga therapist is just advisor and he's giving knowledge. And the person, it is important that you diagnose the condition of the person, but the person needs to find out what is the problem with her. So there are three aspects basically for the diagnosis, which is also known in Ayurveda. Also, they are applied in yoga therapy, like darshana, sparsha, and prashna. Sparsha in Ayurveda is mainly related to the Nadi Vijnan or pulse diagnosis, where the Ayurvedic Vaidya is touching your pulse and diagnosing the condition of your life. Here in yoga, you are touching your own body. This is called prana sparsha to make a diagnosis. In Ayurveda, you are touching the artery, the blood vessel, the artery with the three fingers, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, to feel the pulsation, which is the pulsation of life, which is happening within the walls of that artery. Inside the walls of that artery, there is a pulsation of life in the flow of the blood. And through that, it's possible to see what is the condition of that pulsation. And in yoga therapy, we use the touching. We touch ourselves, our torso, on different levels. So the torso is like, we can say, like a tube, within which the life is also pulsating. There is all function of internal organs inside the torso. Their nature is pulsation, their life, expanding, retracting, expanding, retracting. The breathing activity, expanding, retracting, the heart, the liver, the kidneys, the intestines, everything has that pattern of that action. And in yoga, that life energy, which is pulsating within our body and organizing all life activities, is called Vayu. Vayu. And there are 5 main Vayus, which are related to the 5 different life, we can say, sustaining activities of our body. So this is like walking, moving your body, Vyana Vayu in locomotor system, Udana Vayu being upright and being able to express yourself, and then Samana Vayu related to the balance of the body and the digestion, and Prana Apana Vayu related to the function of the internal expanding and retracting. Apana Vayu for elimination. That elimination can happen. The inner space must retract, squeeze, and then things are going out. And if you want to receive something, Prana Vayu, then you must expand. That activity of expansion, neuromuscular activity of expansion and retraction, are called Prana and Apana Vayu, which is basically the basic pattern of life energy related to the function of autonomous nervous system and to giving life to all most important basic life sustaining activities of our body. So then we try to diagnose what is the condition of the life energy of the Vayu in our body, in the physiology, and where are the obstacles for the function of that energy and everything. By touching your own torso from the side, from the front, up and down, different levels, you find you can find what is the quality of that expansion retraction, where there is a more, where there is a less, where there is missing maybe. So the person makes self-diagnose. You are just giving instruction to the person. Now put the hands here, put the hands here, and you allow person that the person can have its own experience and understanding what what the person experiences. So he can directly face his or her condition. And in that sense, you are putting the person to the self-referral condition, that the person can refer to her own life energy, experience the function of that life energy, and see what is the condition. But also through that process of self-observation, self-referral. This is in the yoga therapy, we use the self-referral principle on all different levels of our life. Becoming self-referral on the level of the physical body and all the functions related to the physical body, and becoming self-referral to the breathing process, the energy body, and seeing what is there, and being self-referral on the mental aspect and the emotional, and on the level of our own self at the end, becoming self-referral. This is that self-referral process is giving the healing effect. So the healing comes from this becoming self-referral, not from becoming object referral. So that's why, and this is the main characteristic of the yoga therapy, that you learn, you gain the knowledge how to be self-referral. So now we'll see the specific processes and the knowledge, that aspect of knowledge, which is very important, which is telling us different methods of being self-referral. So that's why we can say that the yoga therapy, it is done by yourself to yourself, through yourself and for yourself. And then some main sources of traditional knowledge pertaining to yoga therapy is Sankhya, then Sri Patanjala Yoga Sutras, Hatha Pradipika, and Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a separate chapter because sometimes you need to, if you are working with a person and seeing the problem which person has and the condition of the person, everything, then you are also using some knowledge from Ayurveda to give some advice to the person. Also knowledge from the perspective of Ayurveda in relation to the routine of the day and nutrition and seasonal routines and everything. So these are the, we can say, four main sources of the yoga therapy. Now we will see in short for each of them, and then I planned today to take more time for the approach of yoga therapy from the perspective of Sankhya. Then some other the webinar will be with a specific, more detailed approach from the Patanjala Yoga Sutrani. Then the next webinar will be in relation to the Hatha Pradipika, especially the 5th chapter or the lesson 5 in that ancient text, which is devoted to the yoga therapy, and then to Ayurveda. So the Sankhya is very ancient science, which is telling us about the structure of the life. And also what is the possible, based on that structure of life, possible sources of suffering. So from where the problems or suffering in our life that we can face are coming from where. So that's why Sankhya says, Dukkha Traya Anabhigatat, 3 sources of suffering. Dukkha Traya. Traya means 3, and Dukkha means suffering. Or being not being in alignment with the cosmic life. So when our individual life is not in tune with the cosmic life, if it is in tune, then it is sukha. When it is not in tune, when it is disturbed, then it is dukkha. Gives us experience of the suffering, not feeling good. And they say there are three possible sources related to the structure of the cosmology of the whole universe and of our individual life also. We have three, we can say, main levels of our existence in which our life is structured. This gross physical level of our body, physical body, called stula sharira, that gross physical body. Then linga sharira, we can say subtle matter body or astral body. Linga sharira corresponding to that pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, and stula sharira to annamaya kosha. And then, so we can say this is something which is not visible by our eyes as this gross physical aspect of the life, more subtle, where the basic elements which constructs that level of life are tanmatras, and of this gross physical life is mahabhutas, so the five elements, which are giving us ability of obvious, visible perception of that level of life. And then still finer or causal body, you can say the Karana Sharira, most refined level of our physical existence, most refined, we can say like heavenly level. So in the same manner, the structure of the whole universe is also on these three levels. So this gross physical level, that more subtle level, astral level, and then that heavenly level. So from that perspective, Sankhya tells us that the three main causes of the problems we can face in our life can come from us not being attuned with the wholeness of life, not being established in the wholeness of life. And then from that comes all different kind of psychosomatic diseases. This is adhyatmic, atma, not being established in your true atma, in that relation. It is pertaining to your own self. So this can be the cause of many these are mainly these psychosomatic illnesses which are causing us suffering, not being established in that wholeness. So then adhibhautik is in relation. Adhi means in relation. Bhutas, the five elements, basic, in relation to this gross physical level of life. So there can the suffering to our life can come from these five elements coming into the disbalanced condition. From outside, we can be affected. Our life can be affected from this gross physical level in relation to the five elements. For example, the earth element, when it is in the disbalance, then we have earthquakes. Then the water, big floods. The fire, big fires, damaging everything. So when those, or on the level of our body, this balance of the five elements. So this is also a source of the suffering. And then adidevik means pertaining to some, we can say, expressions of life, some entities, some beings, like we are physical beings with a physical body, but there are also some beings living on the astral level with Patanjali is calling them videhas, those who are without physical body. Deha means the physical body also. So, so from that level also, we can be influenced in some way, and we can experience some suffering. So they were considering all possible influences on our life, which can bring us the suffering. And with that, Sankhya teaching starts, defining the suffering of the people, seeing, and this is very much similar and related with the teaching of the Buddha, how it started, because he was facing the suffering of the people. And then from the compassion. So the yogis, in relation to others' suffering, they are having the compassion. And from the compassion, they were giving knowledge how to avoid suffering. So the Buddha was also searching for the means how to stop the suffering, and he was searching many aspects. And also these rishis and Maharishi Kapila, who was author of Sankhya, they were taking into consideration many methodologies related to the Vedic science also, like different aspects of approaches and even yajnas and everything. But they found everything was temporary. It is giving temporary relief from the suffering. And but they wanted to find the final method which can put the suffering off forever, which can stop the suffering. And they found that what is the final remedy, and the remedy about which Sankhya is speaking, and this is the basic approach of the yoga therapy related to the teaching of Sankhya, is the second sutra, which says Vyakta avyakta jñā vijñānāt. So Vyakta and avyakta. Vyakta means manifest, the relative field of life. And avyakta. Avyakta is the unmanifest level of life. Pure consciousness, pure being. This is the avyakta. And jñā means the knowledge, and vijñānāt, and having discriminative knowledge about the difference between the relative and the absolute. To isolate the absolute, to be able to cognize that avyakta state. Or later we'll see about the structure of the Sankhya, the Purusha level of life. So this is the final teaching of Sankhya about what is the most important in our life if we want to stop the to go out from that cycle of the suffering and the pain. To realize and to get experience, to get knowledge about our true self, about that transcendental field of our own life, about the state of transcendental consciousness. And then Sankhya starts explaining how life is structured and how this is the basis of life, and how all levels of life are related to that basis. All other levels of life expressed as different levels of the function of Prakriti. So basically speaking about the relation between the Purusha and Prakriti. So this is teaching of Sankhya, means knowing our true self. Then teaching of Patanjali, Yoga Sutrani, it is the same teaching. as the teaching of Sankhya. All Vedic teachings are the same, but from different perspective maybe, but they are focusing to the one thing, to know your own self. And this is, as I remember once Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, he used to speak, there is one solution for all problems in life. There is one solution for all suffering. And this is experiencing the state of transcendental consciousness, or our own true self, being established on that level. And this is tada drashtuh svarupe avasthanam. This is what Patanjali is giving the description of that state. So then the seer, drashtuh, means I, the observer, becomes established in his true shape, in his true nature, avasthana. Swa, holistic, in his holistic shape, in the wholeness. The seer is established in the state of the wholeness, in the state of that transcendental consciousness, in the state of avyakta. And that wholeness, this is that basis of swastha. We have here swa and avasthanam, stha. Swa, stha, this is putting together, means health. And this is the state of health where Maharishi Patanjali is defining what is the health. And the cause of illness is when we are not in that state, when we are not in the wholeness, when we become partial, when we become identified with certain activities, and then we become partial. We are not anymore in the state of the wholeness. This is the cause of the illness. Vritti sarupyam itaratra means sarupyam means assuming the shape of different activities which we become aware. This is object referral condition of our consciousness. Object in relation to certain objects becomes diversified, losing the state of the wholeness. And self-referral, this is the tada drashtuh svarupe. Svarupe is the self-referral state of consciousness, pure consciousness, then it is the wholeness. So, and this is the cause of illness, and the therapy to come back to the wholeness is that sutra, the second sutra, Yogacharya vritti nirodha. So that you subside, you transcend, you go beyond the differences, you go beyond the activities of perception of anything, and you stop all mental activities on all different levels of your individual life, and then you come to the state of pure consciousness or transcendental consciousness. And this is the state of yoga. That process is the yoga therapy. In the practical form, it is a technique of transcendental meditation from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, or that process which allows you to transcend all activities, all activity, and to come to that state. Doesn't matter of methodology. But as Maharishi Mahesh Yogi said, once every method of meditation which transcends its activity is transcendental. We can call it transcendental meditation because it's just that meaning, to go beyond, to reach that state, the state of yoga. And that's why meditation is the first and the most important approach in yoga therapy, because it is directly leading you to that state. And this is from Patanjali Yoga Sutras. This is some very short insight into these modalities of the yoga therapy approach from these 4 different sets of knowledge, ancient, traditional. And then Hatha Pradipika the 5th chapter of the Hatha Pradipika speaks about also the cause of illness and the therapeutical approach. And it says, when pramadi yujyatye yasto vatadistaya jayate, when if through the wrong practice of yoga even, it is said here, because it is continuing the previous 4th chapters of Hatha Pradipika, where there are described different yogic methods and the practices. And it says that in the case, if you do those kind of the practices in a non-proper way, then you can get the vata disorder, illness. You can enter the state of the illness, of the vata disorder. And for that, you need to understand the proper function of the vayu in your body. That's why it's very important to understand how to work with the vayus in the yogic practices in a proper way, and to correct those imbalances. If you do the practice of yoga in an improper way, then you will disturb the function of certain vayus, and overall the vata disturbance will be there. So then how to deal with that? Great yogi Svatmarama, the author of that Hatha Pradipika, says that you should do Rechaka and Puraka again and again, punah punah. So this is the principle. In the place where there is a problem in your body, in relation to that place, you need to do Puraka and Rechaka again and again until you empty that space from that problem, as it is said further, as when you are washing your ear, somebody is washing your ear, it's putting the water and splashing the ear until it is clean. So in the similar manner, you need to learn in Hatha Pradipika, in the practice of Hatha Yoga, you need to understand how to work with Puraka and Rechaka. What is Puraka and what is Rechaka? What is Shvasa? What is Prashvasa? And this is application of the pranayama in certain asana. So from the perspective of Hatha Pradipika, this is another modality of yoga therapy approach. Meditation is one approach, then asana and pranayama practice combined, that in the asana specific, in relation to specific problem, you learn how to do the pranayama in relation to certain space of the body where there is a problem. And then through that, you can heal that part of the body. So this is the technology. This is methodology which should be learned in a proper way. Once again, I would like to say that in yoga, there is no imagination, no visualization. The practice must be based on the level of the direct experience. Direct experience, pratyaksha, clear understanding of your experience and bringing some conclusion about that, anumana and agamaka, that this is confirmed by the ancient text in that relation like this text. So on that basis, then the practice of asana and pranayama in that manner is very effective for the yoga therapy. So this is, and then Ayurveda, we have here some basic definition of the health. Sama dosha, sama agnishcha, sama dhatu malakriyaha, prasanna atmendriya manaha swasta itya abidyate. It means that all doshas should be in the balance. All basic 3 doshas, vata, pitta, kapha. Then all the agnis, we have this 13 agnis in the body, they must be in the balance. Then all the dhatus, 7 dhatus should be in a good condition. and formed in a balanced way. And then there should be the balanced elimination of the waste from your body. And then also that you are established in yourself, in Atman, and then good relation of yourself with the mind and the function of the senses, and that you are in that state of happiness and wholeness. This means the health in relation to Ayurveda. Here we saw the health in relation to Hatha Pradipika will be that you have a balanced function of all vayus in the body, and that all on the physical level, that all the muscles are in the tonic condition, that you don't have a chronic hypertonic or chronic hypotonic condition of the muscles, but that they are in a tonic condition, all the muscles in your body. For that purpose, you do asanas. That when all the tonic condition, it is the samadhi on the level of the physical body, we can say. So this is the state, the basis of the health of the physical body. Then the function of the vayu is normal. Without having the muscles in the tonic condition, then there will be always some block for the function of the vayu. And these are kind of chronic hypertonic, blocked the tension in the muscles, cramps everywhere, and the stress and strains, and it's creating the blocking for the normal function of the body. On the energy level, so that your that you can experience that your physical body is also the breathing body, that you can feel the breathing movement all over your body, that your breathing body becomes as big as your physical body. So this is preparation for pranayama. Then the function of the prana you can experience in the whole of the structure of your own body. And then the presence of your mind, that you are able to experience every part of your body very clearly from inside. That proprioception, that it is fully developed in the whole inner structure of your body. Then you can see your inner space of your body in the value of the light. And further, so this is the science of the health. And with the yogic practices, we can achieve those states. So now we will go a little to the Sankhya structure, and then we will have some time for the questions. And the most important is the first part of that chart, where you see the avyakta. Avyakta as unmanifest principle or pure consciousness, transcendental consciousness, gap, we can also give the name, or samhita in the Vedic terminology, or nirguna Brahman, or God which is without form and the name, or Satchit Ananda. So this is that level of life which is the basis of everything, which is unmanifest, but it is consciousness, it's pure consciousness. Because of that, it has its own existence. That avyakta has its own existence and has its own intelligence, because it is consciousness. So on that level of avyakta, the aspect of existence, we can say it is pure existence. That pure consciousness has a pure existence and has pure intelligence. These two aspects. So then this is described, the nature of avyakta is described with these left two values as Purusha and Mula Prakriti. That aspect of pure existence is called Purusha, silent. The silent value of the transcendental field of life, the infinite silence, infinite silence. And then infinite dynamism is that Mula Prakriti, that which are the two aspects of one reality. They are not two separate but they are just two aspects of one reality. That's why there is a very intimate relation between them. Even they are by their own nature completely different. One is infinite silence, the other is infinite dynamism, but even they are completely different. They are one. They are one. They are part of one wholeness. And then once Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, when he was teaching science of creative intelligence, at that time he was not speaking much about the Vedic language, but he gave very clear knowledge of the basic knowledge of Sankhya with one expression. He said, it reminded in me, he said, when existence becomes conscious, then intelligence becomes intelligent. Remember that. This is the basic key for engaging the most powerful healing agency in the universe to work for you. This is the key words. When existence becomes conscious, intelligence becomes intelligent. Just because that so intimate relation between the existence and intelligence, which are actually two aspects of one reality, like two sides of one coin. So this is relation between the Purusha and Prakriti. And from that relation, all the yoga therapy, it's based on that. The yoga therapy related to the teaching of Sankhya is based on that relation. And what you need to do to achieve the therapeutic effect on different levels of your existence, you need to make that aspect of consciousness, which is the witness, which is the silence, becoming aware of itself. Becoming aware of itself. Then it is automatically inspiring, we can say, intelligence of that level of life to become more lively and to put in order all the disorders which are there. So there is a method how to do that in the practice, which is a practice which is applied in the practice of yoga, whether it is the practice of asana or pranayama. It is naturally applied in the practice of meditation, because when in the practice of meditation, when you are settling down, your consciousness becoming more and more silent, then the value of observer, then those three values, observer, process of observing, and the object of observation, are melting together, samapati, melting together more and more, and then the consciousness becoming more and more aware of itself as a silent witness. That inner silence becoming more and more in the conscious level. And then it is inspiring intelligence to purify your body on all the level of the different koshas. Automatically, Prakriti is activated through that process of transcending. Prakriti gets activated to release all the tension and stress, everything what is blocking the normal function of the life, and which is the cause of different illnesses. So in the meditation, we have that principle of transcending by that coming back to that simple state of awareness, that more silent level, becoming conscious of existence of that level of consciousness. It gives automatically power to the intelligent aspects to work fully. So what you need to do, you just need to come back to yourself, and the nature takes care of the rest. In Sankhya, it is said that nature, the Prakriti on her own, is unintelligent. But in the vicinity of Purusha, it becomes intelligent. So it means when it has that existence of Purusha becomes conscious of itself, then Prakriti becomes fully intelligent and brings normality to all levels of life. Whether on the individual life, or on the level of the global life, where that's why Maharishi Mahesh Yogi wanted to establish that value of Purusha and Prakriti on the global level, to enliven those qualities and bring all life on the planet Earth and in a normal condition, which is health, happiness, and prosperity. And so this is that basic thing which is important to understand, and which is also applied into the practice of asana and in the practice of other aspects of the yogic practices. It is the same principle, only that functions. Only this is the highest level of the function of nature, to come back to your own self, becoming self-referral. Then everything is taken care of. You don't need to bother about anything. Yatinam Brahma Bhavati Sarati. So then when you become yati, yati means you become self-referral state, then the cosmic intelligence takes the all what is necessary for your life in its hands. And this is the highest level of the application of yoga therapy. The Sankhya teaching is the highest level of application of yoga therapy. If you understand that, if you are able to apply that, then you are able to do wonders. Because we can imagine that our structure of our individual life is so perfect. It has everything. We have everything. We just need to know how to use what we have, how to use. Then we can achieve many things, specifically in relation to the problems that are there. And this is again to come back to be self-referral, that one solution to all problems. Become self-referral, come back to your own self. And this is the teaching of Sankhya, yoga, all aspects of the yogic knowledge, because the yoga state means self-referral state. But this is the principle, and the practices you need to learn in a proper way how to apply these principles into the practice. So then when we will be discussing next time sometime, then we will go in more details about the diversification of Prakriti in all levels of its function and how this is applied in the different practices of yoga. Because the yoga and Sankhya is one wholeness. So we can call Sankhya yoga. And the Sankhya is the basis of yoga and understanding. So now I would like to give some time for the questions. If you have any question in that sense, we can discuss. You can open. I will stop this. And you can open your microphone and camera if you like and ask the questions. So we have some minutes for that. There's any question? In that regard, the yoga therapy is an additional study to understand those principles and see how to put them into the practice and adjust the practice to the individual needs. Yes, Regina. You need to open the microphone. Your microphone is still mute. We can't hear you. You need to unmute the microphone.
Yes, I know.
Yes, okay. Now it's okay.
Okay, good. Thank you. Well, my cursor didn't move, so I couldn't go there. I just would like to say thank you very much. This was a very concise and precise and wonderful summary of the one-week course, which I joined in January. Or February.
Yes. Thank you.
So it's very nice to go through the whole principles again, and just to see that, well, transcending is still the main key principle we have to follow, and then we will get to know all the other specialities. Thank you very much, Jai Gurudev.
Thank you very much. Yes, Dagmar.
So I experienced it as very worthy to start from the very beginning and to do this experience like a, how can I say, it was a game changer for me. So to go back to the very beginning of the whole methods and to start from the very beginning on, and not to be somewhere in the middle and don't having any approach to that. So when I did this last year, I got a very big experience, and it was for me a totally game changer of the whole thing.
Thank you. Yes, always beginning, we must come back to the beginning many times, and this is that self-referral process. we come back again and again to the beginning, and then understanding the beginning from different perspective and more applied values and everything. So it's always good to come to the beginning, because this is the source.
Thank you very much.
So if somebody would like to ask one question. So if no, then I thank you very much for participating on this webinar. And then I will inform you about some further continuation of this topic. And thank you very much, and hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
Hvala puno, Jadranko.
Thank you, Jadranko. Very lovely. Thank you.
Hvala.
Thank you.